So I mentioned an edge rusher who's available. Of course, the Commanders have a problem rushing the passer, and they lost their best pass rusher last season, Dante Fowler Jr. He's with the Cowboys now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Carolina Panthers have released Jadeveon Clowney. He was due around $8.53 million in salary this upcoming season and $2 million, which is reportedly guaranteed. The move frees up almost $8 million in cap space for the Panthers, but Jadeveon Clowney is available.
He's played with a million teams.
He's been on a lot of teams since he was drafted by Houston originally.
Yeah.
But he's played a lot, and there's a reason why teams want him.
Yeah.
In 14 starts last season, he had 46 combined tackles, 5.5 sacks, 11 quarterback hits, 4 passes defended.
He's got 58 sacks in his career. I mean, not worthy of the number 1 overall pick.
No.
I mean, those numbers fall way short. Like, if you'd put a gun to my head before yesterday and I pulled up the stats and said, has Jadeveon Clowney ever had a double-digit sack season?
I probably would
have said, yes, of course he's had one. Hasn't.
No.
He's had 2 9.5ers.
Yeah, but I mean, he's never...
A couple 9s.
But I mean, like, that sort of production, we would mock that all the time when Brian Arakpo would put up 9, 10, or 11 sacks.
He did earn 3 Pro Bowl nods.
He's 32.
He was an all-pro selection in 2016.
Yeah, I mean,
put it this way.
That's a long time ago.
They've found ways to get guys like this on 1-year prove-it deals who've paid off.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a 1-year deal, a veteran deal.
You give
loaded
him
up with
1 year,
incentives.
$5 million, like they gave at Ertz or somebody like that.
Sure.
Low risk, low exposure.
Risk, not spending a lot of money.
If he stays healthy, maybe he gives you.
So I think he's worth a
6
shot.
or 8 sacks.
Yeah. I trust him.
I think he's worth a shot.
He's like an arbitrage.
I'm not sure if they're interested.
Like replacement for Fowler. That you sign on the cheap and hope you get 7 or 8 sacks if he stays healthy.
Yeah, I think I would be totally fine with it. But again, I said this, and I did Grant and Danny yesterday. I think it was Toby and Danny. I just trust him so much. It's almost boring. It's like bad radio. I just trust them. Whatever they do, I trust. So if they don't sign them, they must have a reason why they're not. If they do, I support them until proven otherwise.
Did you see the post-draft QB rankings from Cody Benjamin on CBSSports.com?
I did not.
It's kind of crazy. All right, number 5 is Josh Allen.
Seems very low for the guy that won MVP last year.
Hold on, I'm not sure I'm understanding what this list is.
It's just a power ranking of quarterbacks post-draft.
The best quarterbacks in the league.
Okay. Josh Allen. Number 4, Lamar Jackson.
That also seems low for a guy that won 3 straight MVPs.
Top 4. They got Joe Burrow 3.
Uh-huh.
Jalen Hurts, of course, won the MVP and won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Number 2. Jaden Daniels. Number 1 post-draft quarterback.
Look at that.
In Cody Benjamin's list.
What does he mean by post-draft? So does he have some rookies in there or something? I don't quite understand the post-draft.
I think based on what they've done to, they go out and get Tunsil and Debo, and they drafted Connerly, and
so he's
just
very
post-draft.
Bullish on Jaden Daniels.
What's the rationale? Can you read the?
He says recency bias? ? Sure. But you'd be hard-pressed to find an NFL team that wouldn't hurry to claim him as their quarterback of the present and future, contenders included. He was simply unflappable for much of the dynamic debut, which ended on the doorstep of the Super Bowl. A second-year dip is possible, but who says Daniels won't keep climbing with some added veteran help in D.C.?
Kind of funny how he's ranked above Patrick Mahomes. That's kind of weird.
Mahomes is...
At least on his list.
Mahomes is...
I think he's
6.
Oh, I find that peculiar.
I saw some list where they had Mahomes down at 11.
You might have been on the right side of that one, Cakes.
Maybe I was. Maybe I was onto something.
So
he did lead the Chiefs to the Super Bowl last year.
Remember,
that's fine.
That is the one question, there is the cliche sophomore slump that you worry about with guys that have big first years. But Warren Sharp came on, and this guy knows the numbers as well as anybody. And he said, really, that's not something that quarterbacks typically endure. So it was enlightening to me.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what his rationale for it was, but he was basically saying it's not really something that quarterbacks do.
And he was spotlighting his clutchness, his clutch gene.
Yeah.
That we all know that he's
got a little of James Wood in him. Just like
chill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All that craziness is going on, and he's just sitting there on the bench absorbing it.
Yeah.
And then when it's his turn, he goes out there, straps it up, and gets it done.
It's almost like nothing affects him.
You did see a few moments where he wanted urgency when the play was getting in slow. You saw a few of those moments. But by and large, pretty unflappable.
Cool customer, both of those guys.
Pretty unflappable.
So thought that was interesting.
Well, I think
that he had him above, MVP, Super Bowl winners.
I have him eventually going to the Hall of Fame. He's not worthy today
Mike
yet.
Moore. All right, put him in there.
Eventually going to the Hall of Fame. I just see the talent.
Make
he's
that
going
headline,
there.
Mike Moore.
He's not Hall of Fame worthy yet.
Nobody is after
but
1 year.
he's going to the Hall of Fame because he's going to keep doing this, barring injury. But I wouldn't have him one in the NFL at this point. I mean, I think that's crazy. No one's higher on him than me, and I wouldn't put him one in the NFL. Like, that list to me is bizarre.
Well, it's just his opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that crazy considering what he did as a rookie and the fact that he can keep adding to his arsenal and his repertoire going
It'll be
forward.
interesting to see what he
Well,
does.
his skill set is as sexy as anyone's in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So, let's see. You saw the picture of him and Debo, and was it Ertz?
Ertz, yeah.
When they had their little mini camp or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Barstool Nate. He pointed out he thought he looked swole. Did you think he looked a little thicker?
I saw somebody else post a picture of him within the last week that said he's been adding some muscle in the off season.
Yeah, does he look?
He's a wiry, athletic guy.
Does he look a little more jacked?
You'd be able to see it might pop in a picture or a video.
Somebody send it to me, EB Junkies on Twitter.
I saw one person on Twitter say it looked like Debo's been eating a lot of tacos.
Oh, they're joking.
So I don't know.
That's just the way
I think that Debo's just going to have that reputation.
He's looked like that from his rookie year. That's just the way
he's just a tank. I don't really care what he looks like.
He's strong as an ox. His lower half's stronger than some defensive tackles. I mean, he's just strong. He's a strong dude.
Back to Clowney and whether the Commanders should add him. Here's where they finished amongst the top teams in the league. All right. Denver led the league in sacks with 63. The Commanders are 20 back with 43, but that put them right in the middle. There are a bunch of teams around them, including the Eagles, who had less. The Eagles only had 40 sacks. So they found a way to get to the pass rusher. Now they lost Dante Fowler. So, I might take a flyer on Clowney.
It wouldn't hurt at all. It wouldn't hurt at all.
And most of the experts, they're speculating, have the Commanders as one of the top destinations for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, they should be interested. When you lose your top pass rusher and Clowney becomes available, even though he's not going to get you 10 or 12 sacks, can he get you 6 or 7 and put pressure on the quarterback? That's valuable.
Does his odyssey, and I'm not expecting you guys to look it up, but just by does his odyssey throughout the league coincide at any point with Norton, Quinn, Peters, any of those guys?
He did do 1 year in Seattle, but I don't think it intersected with
when
Quinn.
DQ was there.
I don't think it intersected. Quinn was in Seattle years ago.
Right, because this is a relationships deal.
Yeah, Quinn
if these guys have worked with him, they're a little bit more likely to pull the trigger on something like that.
But you would have thought.
Good question.
I think if you didn't look up the numbers, you'd have thought that the Commanders finished near the bottom of the league in sacks. They finished 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Without having a stud who's giving you 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just spread them around, and maybe.
But it was still clearly a weak point of the team.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I just felt like you didn't have a superstar, and there were certain times. I mean, the defense was so bad at times that, everything just seemed terrible.
But look, Peters and Quinn obviously felt that they had other needs. They felt like they needed to go out and get a future left tackle, possibly, in the draft, and not an edge rusher. And there were some good edge rushers on the board.
Mm-hmm.
They felt like they needed another DB, a corner. They got him, and there were still good rushers on the board.
Yeah, I think they're getting close to the DBs going from being a weakness to they're getting close to potentially a strength.
I think their bigger problem, and the thing which they addressed probably with Kinlaw and in the draft, was stopping the run. I think their whole focus is on stopping Saquon Barkley. It's like, that's the team that's ahead of us. How did they beat us?
Mm-hmm.
We got to figure out a way to stop Barkley. And they knew that going into the NFC Championship game, and still Barkley ripped off a touchdown on the first time he touched the ball.
Well, he's just great.
So they finished 30th in the league stopping the run last year. So I get why you want to rush the passer. Obviously, you want a guy. You want a game wrecker who's going to be in the quarterback's face. It's going to create turnovers and all that. But overall, you got to figure out a way to stop the run. They were giving up almost 140 yards per game on the ground. So that's the bigger need in my mind. So if you bring in a guy like Clowney, is Clowney good at stopping the run too? I don't know. Because I think that's their number one mission.
I am drinking the Kool-Aid on everything that these guys are doing, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid on Kinlaw. Everyone's bashing him, but I believe they're going to find a way to utilize him, and he's going to pop.
Well, they gave him a big deal.
Yeah, hopefully he's a game wrecker on the interior.
I think Kinlaw's going to pop.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been in the same room with him, obviously, but all they talk about is what a massive human being he was.
Yeah.
In fact, in one of these pods I listened to with Jay Gruden said, you see the guy, and you're like, oh, my God, how do you not have, 15 sacks and, 200 tackles?
Yeah,
that's how physically imposing this dude is.
And remember, we heard they might use him in what they call the elephant end.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So he might not be a traditional defensive end that you think of like a TJ Watt or a Myles Garrett that's going to go after him, but maybe putting him on the end is going to help you stop the run. And look, this staff, you look at Dante Fowler Jr., who they lost. The years before last season, where he had 10.5 sacks, he finished in 2022 with 6 sacks, in 2023 with 4 sacks. They got him to 10.5 last season, and he's getting paid because of that. So maybe that's what they're looking at. I would say it doesn't hurt to bring in Clowney. Maybe I would bring him in, but maybe they don't think they need him.
Any vet that that you could get on the cheap and in the same sort of idea of the Ecklers, the Ertzes, the guys that have done it before but are on the back end of it, and you think that they're character guys and they fit in the locker room, I'm all about it. No problems.
All right, got to take a break. Remember, coming up at 7:25, your chance to win tickets to go see Metallica in concert here on the Junkies.